So the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again have dropped. Let's talk spoilers. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Share your spoiler-packed thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. If you haven't watched the episode and don't want to hear spoilers, get on out of here. And if you want to leave comments, you don't need to leave any spoiler warnings. The spoiler warning is in the title of the video, and I'm saying it right now. If you want to know my overall thoughts on the show thus far, I've seen the first 4 episodes. You can check out my spoiler-free review or my short that contains my thoughts on it. But as for episodes 1 and 2, let's get started with some spoilers. So the show kicks off with someone dying. Our classic crew is hanging out at a bar, having a good old time. We get the feeling that things are pretty good with where they're at in life, and they're happy with their law firm, working together. The 3 of them, working on cases, all that fun stuff. And then a trap is set where Mr. Daredevil is sent down the road so that his 2 friends will be exposed. And in the process, Foggy gets killed. Now, I think this is one of those things that a lot of us had kind of feared. Just in general, I think there'd been rumors, leaks, that something what was going to happen off screen or during the blip or something like that was the flavor that was from the original version. And then even when they're going to redo it, they're like, hey, no, Foggy and Karen are coming back. You're like, okay, but how much are they coming back? Because when I look at the trailer, it's a pretty limited number of contexts of where we see those characters. So I was expecting at least one of them to die. In particular, the initial reactions that were posted talked about something shocking happening in the first 10 minutes. I was like, Foggy's going to die. Foggy's going to die. And so Foggy gets shot, and while Karen is just crying over his body, Matt gets into a fight with Bullseye. And just on like a level of, bridging the 2 shows. Like, I don't know what the original version of this show was that didn't do this, but like, just right here, this introduction that sets Matt on this path of losing his way, or maybe finding his way, changing his way, but retiring Daredevil, it means so much more that the villain from the last season showed up to seek revenge and hurt Matt in the worst way he could, killing Foggy. It means so much more. Whatever other thing they would have done, if it was off screen or like they died in the blip or whatever was going to happen, it couldn't possibly have been as powerful as this. That guy that got to live, came back, killed Foggy. Today's video is brought to you by Factor. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition for this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. This year I've been trying to eat a lot better and work out more. Factor makes it so much easier, and it's so much quicker to eat something that tastes great that also fits in my diet. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience you can't beat. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, choose between things like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. I either go with Keto or Protein Plus because I'm a high protein, low carb kind of guy. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab and go snacks, and more add-ons. I like their protein smoothies to kick off my day, once again, because I really like protein. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And so Matt gets in a fight with them. I am not crazy about the look of this fight. Like, as a oneer, it is easily my least favorite of the oneers. And I don't think it... Some of it is just a simple fact of when you're doing some of the CGI stuff or some of the trickery they did, it felt a little bit more obvious. And, with the even the, I've only seen the version that I was sent from from Disney, and the compression is different. I think that some of it might look better if I watched it properly. Also, when you watch it on their screen, or my email's right in the middle of the screen, you know what happens in the middle of the screen on most TV shows? Whatever the most interesting thing is that you're supposed to be paying attention to, they put your email right there. So just as a little behind the scenes of the insane world of how critics sometimes have to watch things. But the overall look of the fight and choreography I was not crazy about. In particular, the sometimes overly CGI, like when he swings in with the rope. Like, I just thought all that looked pretty bad. We need overly acrobatic moves. Like, they had all these really cool acrobatic moves in the previous version. You're like, oh, that was awesome choreography. This one is like, that was some questionable CGI. Had me a little bit worried that this is, like, it starts off something that felt kind of off. Even, like, the way that it transitioned. Like, there's a part where, like, they walk through and two doors close, which is one of the more obvious ways to put a cut in the middle of a oneer sequence, because you just crop the section in the doors closing is their next shot, and you just crop out the middle. It's a really easy effect, and you just put in the middle of what you cropped out the old shot. I could even do this technique very easily. I wasn't crazy about it. I did like that they were out of breath during the fight. Just any of those details where it's like, that's right, he's just a guy with a day job. And so guys with day jobs, they're tired from working all day, and suddenly he's back in the suit fighting people. He's tired. I like that. But you get to the end of it, and then Matt, our guy that is trying really hard to not kill people, and he wants to fight for justice but doesn't want to kill people, throws Bullseye off the roof. Like, in what's just trying to, like, what are those little things in our introduction that would send Matt on this other path, that he wants to put this aside? Well, that his friend died. The consequences of this journey that he's on is his friend is dead, and that this has pushed him to a place where he just threw a guy off of a roof hoping to kill the guy, and pushing him to his worst place. Like, I think this opening sequence was like Rocky in execution. Like, the specific look at it, I don't know if it was short on time or whatever exactly it was, because of course it was part of the reshoots. Looked kind of Rocky and everything like that, and some rough edges. But also at the same time, all the concepts I think are pretty great. Like, this is, if you're gonna send Matt on this path, this is the way to do it. Then we have a 1 year time jump. As soon as that happened, the intro started, I was like, I expected a bigger time jump. Because, we've got 7 years between shows, plus a blip. So in another sense, we don't know who survived who was in the blip, and who skipped over 5 years. But potentially, in their timeline, couldn't 12 years have passed? That's a lot of time to pass. So I don't know all the details of how that would all work out, but I was expecting a bigger of a time jump than just 1 year. But it was 1 year. And one of the things we pretty quickly get to is the trial of Bullseye, and kind of what we learned from it is that Matt and Karen have had a really big falling out. And this is like, this scene between the two of them afterwards was like that. It was just like the moment that, like, made me go, all right, I don't think I need to worry about this show. I think we're going to be okay. The opening, the fight with the way that it was shot and everything, I was like, I'm not sure. Like, there's a lot in here I really like. I don't have any problem with the bold choices, but the execution isn't quite right. And there were quotes from the showrunner who was like, we don't want the navel gazing about being heroes. There's too much time of people just sitting around talking. And then we do this long scene of them sitting on a bench where Matt's like, please don't leave. Please talk to me. Please, I want to talk to you. And then it's made pretty clear that their relationship, everything that was there, is kind of like crumbled, because the way that each of them responded to the pain of this pushed the other person away and hurt the other person. And neither one of them is really able to put that aside. Either one of them is able to really do what they need to do to build the bridge to the other person. And that felt like right. Like that it felt like earned drama. That two people that were brought in this very extreme situation of superheroes, supervillains, and their friend is taken out in the middle of it. That devastates you and breaks things. And I just thought that the dialogue, the way it was handled, the performances, like they haven't skipped a beat on getting the most important things about this show right. But this will lead me to one of my negatives, per se, of the 4 episodes I've seen of the new show. I said in my spoiler-free review that you can feel the absence of some of the supporting cast. So, like, as soon as you can unpack the opening scene and the Karen sequence right afterwards, as soon as you can unpack that, you know exactly what I'm talking about, what I mean, and debate the merits of it. But you can't do that in a spoiler-free review. You're like dancing around it, and like by implication, people can probably figure out what I'm saying by it, which I hate. But well, love and hate it, because I'm clear enough that you know what I mean, but also I can't really talk about it without spoiling things. But Foggy and Karen are missed, and there's nothing to fully take their place. Like, all the people that work with Matt at his law firm, they feel like stand-in characters. Like, they're just not Foggy. There's just not that history there. They're not Karen. There's not that history there. And so there's a lack of depth in the conversations, in the dialogue, because it's not them. And, but maybe by the end of the season that'll be different, but you kind of, like, you feel that. And some of that is maybe a good thing, that you want a reset. That with, and maybe this is a really helpful reset, where, let's go back a decade. One of the big issues I had with the TV show The Flash. At the beginning, no one in his real life knows he has superpowers, just people over here at this lab. And so he has his secret life as a superhero, and then there's Barry Allen by day. And you get like 4 seasons in, and everybody knows his secret. And so there's the secret identity thing is kind of gone, and the whole dynamic of the show is missing because everybody knows. So with Daredevil, by the end of season 2, his best friends know, we do 1 season of everybody knowing. How long do you want, you remove a certain storytelling possibilities, dramatic things, as soon as that's off the table. So you do a reset with this show, and you take the 2 people that we've already played out the conflicts with him, their issues with him, the secrets, the lies. If you take them and move them away, all of a sudden it's back to, there's a lot more secrets here, new dynamics, it's interesting. But you gain something and you lose something with that. And so I like, everything that's there is good. Like, think about it in those terms. Like, man, I really love the dialogue, the drama, the conflict. But there's a Foggy-sized hole and there's a Karen-sized hole in the show once they leave. Because they're so pivotal to Matt. And you love their interactions with Matt so much. Other thing that where things kind of go, I guess, to discuss in the first episode is that Wilson Fisk is running for mayor, or decides to run for mayor. Episode kind of covers a good bit of time. Obviously, beyond the time jump, you also have his whole mayoral campaign. But you discover, while he was off doing the TV show Echo, he does Hawkeye, gets injured, he goes off and does the TV show Echo, and he leaves Vanessa behind, and she resents that. She doesn't appreciate very much, but also she, discovers some strengths and takes over the business. And it's kind of interesting because rewatching season 1, like how much he just idolizes her and just puts her on this pedestal. And then you kind of jump to this other time period where she's doing more things that would and do impress him, but also has made choices that have hurt him. And so their relationship has all these other interesting dynamics in it, that they've created this scenario where he has to fight for his wife again. It's interesting. It's fun, and it's a flavor to it. But in his running for mayor, Matt is not crazy about this. So then Matt, goes to confront him about it, and leads to another one. It's just great dialogue scenes of them in a diner, where Matt, of course, does not trust Wilson Fisk running for mayor, and Wilson's saying a lot of the right things, and Matt, even like the Catholicism comes out, like, I believe in grace. I believe you can be touched by a higher power to be that better person. If that's happened, fine, great. But that's not all I believe in. And you just feel like the tension that's always kind of going to be there a little bit between, like, even if Wilson Fisk, everything is great and it's true, it's still going to be like, I know who you were. I know what you did. But also, Wilson pretty clints it that, like, there's, like, I'm coming after you. Like, if I'm mayor, I'm coming after you as the mayor. We can't have people like you. One of your kind shot me. Now, I don't even think that's true, because Echo was not really a vigilante. She was, like, on the wrong side in the show Hawkeye. He wasn't shot in the eye by Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, or Yelena. It was by the person that realized that she'd been betrayed by him. But, so, like, I think he's got a bad understanding of what happened to him on the Hawkeye show. Other little things to touch on in here. Ben Urich's niece has her own independent news show. I thought that was a fun little touch. That, how do you move it into the 21st century and have kind of a youthful flavor, but that feels authentic and real? You had all these little segments, and it says BB Urich. It says, oh, okay, Ben. Like, I thought assumed it would be Ben's daughter, Ben's niece. And, she's, like, investigating things, and adds a little bit of the treating New York City as a character. And so we see it from Matt's perspective, we see it from Wilson's perspective, and she allows us to see the city's many perspectives on it. And so I thought that was a nice little touch, and, you get a little bit of that in, I guess we're still on episode 1, so still got a lot to talk about here. But I thought that was a nice little touch. And then then Matt's dating life. We introduce a girl for him that starts as a blind date that goes badly because his irritation for being tricked into going on a date comes off as being rude to the other person that was tricked. And then I'm sorry. Sit down. Let's talk. It wins her, gets her to stay, and thought that was a nice little date, nice little way to end our date. And, Matt gets a new girlfriend, and at the end of the episode, we learn that Wilson is going to be the mayor, and we learned that Vanessa cheated on Wilson. That'll lead into episode 2, where you start to get a vibe for how the show will play out, which is it has an episodic feel to it, which I love. Like, it feels like actual television. There's, of course, the meta storytelling, the stuff that's going on throughout the whole season, but there's little arcs. There's individual episodes that play out. So we kick this one off with this cold open about this guy who sees 2 guys beating up a guy, steps into, stop them. Things quickly escalate. A guy trips, falls on the subway, gets killed, and one of our 2 bullies turn out to be cops. So the one that's still alive pulls out his guns and says, NYPD. And thus this guy's arrested, kicking in motion an arc that will go, well, I'm not saying I have seen the next 2 episodes beyond this, but as you can tell from the cliffhanger at the end of this episode, continues on after this episode. But Matt decides to be his lawyer, as he can tell that he's not lying, and something seems fishy about this. So you pretty quickly start diving into the lawyer aspect of the show, that it is about more than just fighting crime. Matt has moved on, and he's trying to use the law to save the city. And that means helping this guy, even it means going against the police, but whatever it looks like, that's what he wants to do. And as we go throughout the search for what's up with this guy, we discover this guy is White Tiger. And earlier in the show, in the previous episode, White Tiger was introduced on a news broadcast and appeared in some of the little the Baby Urich segments. He's kind of mentioned a little bit, but there's another vigilante in the town fighting crime named White Tiger, and turns out Matt Murdock has found him. And the guy doesn't want that to be known, and they're trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with this information? We got this guy that clearly is this guy was not trying to cause trouble. He was hiding the fact that he's the vigilante, so he was looking to help people, but he wasn't looking to kill a cop, of course. And then some other little details that happen in this one. Matt's new girlfriend ends up being the person doing marital counseling for the Fisks, which is a fun detail that I don't know where that all is going, even as far as I've seen. But like, you're trying to figure out, how do we have like just the right dynamics to like have everyone have an important role in the show. Like, okay, Matt's got a new girlfriend that's a therapist. Who cares? Why are we doing this? Oh, she's the one learning about the Fisk marriage. Well, that's fun. Well, that's interesting. And then you see kind of Wilson Fisk trying to do his mayor job. There's like a little episode where he's driving down the road and there's a hole in the road and there's equipment everywhere and they're not filling it in because of red tape, and he's just, do it. Everyone wants you to do it. You've got the equipment, do it. And kind of showing the, like, what is it that would make people interested in Wilson Fisk? He doesn't care about the bureaucracy and the stupid stuff. It's like, there's a hole right there. That's a pile of gravel, and that's a thing that can pick up gravel. Fill the hole. Like, that's sort of like common sense outsider mindset. Just get it done. That you kind of build out, like, why would he be interested? Like, why would people be drawn to him? Because he's like, no nonsense, just get it done, fix the city. And then you also see he's also still Wilson Fisk, where he's got issues with the police commissioner. So he digs up dirt on the guy and he goes, hey, look what I know. You've got another kid. So how about we work together, or else? And so he's still doing what Wilson Fisk does. Not as extreme, but Wilson Fisk is still Wilson Fisk. And the episode closes out with Matt trying to track down a witness to the guy that was getting beat up at the beginning of the episode. And he goes there, and the cops show up. At least one of the cops from the beginning and another guy show up to, who knows what they're going to do to the guy. But they don't like that Matt's there, and Matt got the guy out. So they start roughing up Matt, trying to beat him into submission, not realizing who they have. So Matt, who's trying really, really hard not to be who Matt Murdock is, can only hold out for so long, and beats the crap out of these guys, and bones snap and blood shoots out. And it's classic, awesome Daredevil stuff. Fun to see people being absolutely destroyed by Mr. Daredevil, and I had a good time with him. So anyway, we're 2 episodes in on, I've like I said, I've seen 4 episodes, but 2 episodes in for where we're at right now. And I've got my little quips about like the minor stuff, the nitpicks. They're nitpick type things I have issues with. But as for like, what did I actually love about the old version? Characters, complex storytelling, nuance, exploration of faith, and things like that. All there. We're doing good. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, and keep talking.